I can explain. I swear it started as a joke, you know, haha, silly book covered in plastic wrap. Definitely not the gay thing, definitely. Definitely not, definitely. So I open it. Words. I know. It's a book humble, but you know what I mean. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. This is a small entry. It follows these trends. You have a one picture on one side, the words on the other, bio, all that jazz, and then there may be a little picture on the bottom that I can't really show. But it's good. And then a couple of pages, you know, one or two pages of, you know, deeper lore sprinkled around like paprika on deviled eggs. And let me tell you, those letters are deceptively small. Like, it was a hassle to read these, even as is. It's not a pleasant experience. There are a lot of words. More than you'd think. More than you would really think. More than you would really think. So, I kind of spiraled, and now we're here. Me teaching material from said encyclopedia, written by a wondering scholar of monsters from an age of change, not only for monster kind, but of all of humanity and more. Or rather, some of the most incel-coded media I have read in a while, if not ever, and I have never been so intrigued in my life. Still technically doesn't explain anything. I know. Well, let's just say hyperfixation. I like cute anime girls, and admittedly, the art and character design is pretty good. When it's not the worst thing imaginable. And I have an incredibly deep appreciation for horror and monster design. I also love going into Monster Girls. I unfortunately had to admit the slight fixation in genre after pre-ordering Volume 10 of Interspecies Reviewers. I've played both Blush and Crush, and I only get weird and giggly on the dude one while I've logged, let me see. Yeah, it's bad. I'm bad. But I ain't half as bad as this guy. So, greetings, colleagues and perverts. I'm Professor Humble, adjunct researcher at Post-Corruption Monstrology, freelance field biologist, and two-time nominee for most likely to be eaten by slime on purpose. Only nominee, though. And this is the beginning of our descent to the Monster Girl Encyclopedia, a world of dubious ethics at best. And honestly, some of the most fascinating weird-ass biology ever put to cursed parchment. Kenko, cross-creator of the series, and also, this is the only picture that shows up when you look him up, which is both kind of hilarious and kind of deserved. Can you tell I'm sweating? Can you tell I've been sweating? How sweaty do you think I am right now? It's very, if you'd like to know, it's very. The entirety of the books read like the most horrendously down bad incel-made material ever made. Every justifiable means possible that at least one girl is insatiably, irresistibly, biologically for them, and only them. Everything about it begs the question, is this escapism, satire, a coping mechanism, or just ideology? And honestly, I don't think it really matters in the end. Dude's a total lolicon. FBI open! Total undeniable creep. You'll be getting an earful of it. Though, know that moving forward with the course. I in no way condone this behavior and won't be really showing those monsters' bodies. I'm totally gonna read you a couple of lines from a few bios to prove my point and make you equally as uncomfortable as I am. However, joking all over the series. I mean, all over it. Except I only have 2 volumes of the main series. The case of the incel used to be a scientific quandary. The internet's favorite word, incel is an abbreviation of involuntarily celibate, which originally was coined invicel. Whose ever smart idea was that? Until someone suggested, rightly, that incel was a lot easier to say. Hello there. A long time. The word used to mean anybody of any gender who was lonely, had never had sex, or hadn't had a relationship in a long time. The term was coined in the 90s by a bisexual woman named Alana, who was interviewed in 2018 about her original mailing project for said lonely singles. However, what most people don't know, or it's very difficult to find if you don't know specific information, or if you have a very, 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 very real degree, like me, this interest in involuntary celibacy started in the 80s, and discourse has existed since then about the legitimacy of words like celibacy and singlehood. It's an interesting look into the very real science of human attraction and oh, this is gonna be a nightmare. This series is gonna be a nightmare. This series is gonna be a nightmare to try and say things for. Please don't spill on the white. Now, specifically, what kind are we talking about? It's the fantasy of being passive receivers of affection or power. It just slips into their hands. Not a lick to do with them. Not a lick to do with them. It's inevitable. It's unavoidable. It's fate. In this world, lust is only a sin to some. The order. Jesus freaks. The rest are either terrifyingly neutral or have submitted themselves to the role of monster femdoms already. Why would you not? You get eternally virgin innocent for wives or life partners. Oh, and baby, I mean for life. None of that hit and run BS, unless it's the very particular few. And by then you're already kind of into it. Terrified of myself, and so should others. Or it's just dirty, nasty, always on chicks who see no reason to live besides you. Beside you. You inside, all that jazz. Literally all over this book. Not the jazz, though. The book suggests that female desire is unavoidable. A biological compulsion, in fact, not just in monsters, but repressed in every single woman. In fact, many monstrizations are worded as the monsters bringing out something, some laying lust within someone. Post-great change. By the way, that change that I said earlier, yeah, it was pretty cool. All known species of monsters were transformed by demonic energy, feminized, sexualized, and reproductively focused to a point of obsession. Sound fun? It's not. It's biology, silly. You silly guy, you silly. My eyebrows are out. My eyebrows are out, and they're white. I'm on that Shaun the Sheep grind. If you know, you know. Monster girls are described as hypersexualized, but framed as pure once paired. In fact, promiscuity is rarely a thing in the series, and said to specifically not happen, except in the rare cases, and the only one off the top of my head I can think of is the bicorn. Ironically, the name's all you need to know. And boy, do I mean biologically. This thing will find any way to make sure that your wife will never want to raw dog the neighbor on the bathroom floor, or something non-specific like that. This world removes all fear of male rejection, all female agency, and offers an odd view of the desire for intimacy when so painfully, obviously craved in some very specific ways publicly. In my hands. And now on the internet. Monster girls aren't just anime cat girls with government-mandated kitties. This isn't hentai. No. This is evolutionary divergence under magical pressure. Girl, boy, son, boy, daughter, if you don't get out of here. Okay, you get out. Every modern mamano, the term used by the series for these hot monster chicks, is believed to be a descendant or mutation from some baseline monster, though their morphologies used to be very different. Monsters used to be beastly, violent, nasty, but in a very different way than what we get today, mind you. What is up there? What is it? What is that? Is that my eyelash? I think I have both of them still. Ew, you can see my hair. How long have you been able to see my hair? After the reigning monster lord was overthrown by a succubus and replaced by said succubus, all monster biology shifted overnight to fit that similar form. A succubus. Like Digimon Evolution, but if every Digimon turned into Angel Woman and was emotionally codependent, now all monster kind eat in the same way, feeding off some of that jazz from earlier, and spit, and sweat, and possibly other substances. Book's kind of vague sometimes, and I worry inside my chest. Get help. Now don't get me wrong, the bios do dive into the various other aspects of folklore and mythology associated with these monsters, and they also add some odd biology points. Bios also dive into how the world had monsters that rampaged, hunted, killed, what appears to be relatively soon ago. A world of magic, medieval flair, classic high fantasy with non-serious tone. Waifus, cute, cuddly, sexy, so hot, so hot. There are 200 in my hands, and implications of some other ones, not included in the books, 200, and I'm not obviously counting gods and goddesses. Yeah, there's religion. Obviously. There's a little freaky specific thing for the widest range of Simpson monsters alike. Granted, male monsters. But I'm just a silly little guy. I gotta hold the microphone. I have reeks of them, these little dirty freaks. Oh, these little dirty freaks. You know, not me. Not me. But some people. You can see my hair. That's just my hair. Word. This book reeks of them, incels, but an interesting submissive variation. Sounds like me on a Friday night. Make it easy, make it instinct, make it ambush, make it involuntary. This book very often implies forced love, submission with love, or love. Or, as some would say, some nasty, dubiously consented bone defiling. Bonus points for claws, fangs, and oddly animalistic characteristics that suspiciously mirror that of furry art. Some are quite abstract and honestly just unappetizing to me. But each their own barnacle, I suppose. It's attempting something for everyone. No man left behind. In this world you got humans, elves, dwarves, and monsters. The book seems to lean towards the threat of monsterization with loving open arms. Humans and dwarves alike. However, third species, elves, have defied this with their entire society changing to combat the monsterization presences in the world. Altered their entire society to prevent the rise of dark elves. Uh-oh, that's strike 2, Cross. Quit fucking playing games with me, you freak! To no one's knowledge, this could be Irish. Cheers. Take the video, bitch. Monster Girl Biology 101 is here to educate not just about monster lore, but about the uncomfortable truth of fantasy fetish and the deeply questionable lines between art morality and the human psyche. Class is now in session. Bring your notes, bring your pens, bring your favorite waifu figure, and bring a box of tissues. It's on the syllabus. You should have seen it was on the syllabus. You should have read it was on the syllabus. It's not for you, it's for the class, obviously. This is education, alright? And for the love of God, don't touch the slime jar. Bye. Alright, okay, lecture's done. I swear if Voss sends me one more correction letter, I'm finding it to a mimic. And I'm sending it back and paste this. I got 2 master's degree too. And I'm explaining Minotaur ovulation cycles to a class that's just 60% here for the jail chart. No. I like my job. I like my job. Have you ever seen a whole story? No, it's transcendent. I like my job. I mean, no, the funding, I'm editing on a spellbound potato. If I left that slime girl in the freezer, if I left that sample in the freezer, no. No, I like my job. I like my job. It's a good job. My laptop smells like lavender. I swear if I hear about this anything, it's gonna be worse than the slime. You know, I don't think I've been paid since the slime incident. I don't know if that's because I was technically fired. The boss tells me 2 more things. Cat, do not scratch the wall. Life is like a hurricane. They don't care about the sciences, the deep sciences. They're deep. 17 spellbound roads, and I still haven't gotten my goddamn journal back. Where did they put it?